your home here at Cabin. We are going to be recording this meeting. I hope that is okay with y'all. From some of our friends in Europe, this is a little bit later of a call. So today we are celebrating Cabin moves in seasons, from seasonal vegetables, flannels in the fall, the first snowfall dusting the leaf-fallen landscape, the exposure of sun's rays on my pale, bare summer skin, but the blessings of a shade-providing tree and a fresh breeze. Seasons mark the passings of time. They allow us to reflect and move forward with intentionality. And today, we usher in a new season of life, Fall 22, Cabin's 5th season. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And when I think of fall, I think of trees and the explicit reminder that things are always changing. I often laugh during this time of year because as the trees' leaves change, it makes me think, that they're putting on their best outfits before they go to sleep for the winter. And I was up all night deciding what I wanted to wear today. Do I wear the shirt? Do I button it? Do I unbutton it? Do I shave the beard? But we're here today, and trees work together and trees build together in a forest. And here at Cabin, we're creating or recreating old growth cultures like old growth forests, dynamic, complex, rooted yet adaptable. And even if a lot of these old growth forests have been cut down, I'm here today to tell you that they have not been exterminated, because the land itself holds their memory and the possibility of regeneration, a renewal of our relationship to the land, born out of reciprocity between the land and the people comes a vision to heal the world. So during today's State of the Network, we're going to be looking back at the last 6 months, anchoring ourselves in the present and our plans for Fall 22. And we're going to be sharing some different ways you can tap into the Cabin ecosystem. The TLDR of it all is that Cabin is growing, and we're excited to keep building this network of neighborhoods. So come co-live with us, come build real shit with us, and let's change the way we live. So looking back, I can still remember back in January of this year, ushering in season 2, when our goal for 2022 was to focus on just neighborhood zero. And you remember this, John? And become the DAO for DAOs, or an embassy for DAOs. And we've certainly done that. But if y'all can remember, starting in March or April, people started asking, hey, when are y'all adding more neighborhoods to this network? Well, today we are here, my friends. We have 3 neighborhoods officially onboarded and many more friends and spaces to welcome into our co-living network. So we're going to look back a little bit. Of course, we have April, where we had our sauna build week. The cows arrived at neighborhood 0. We had our 3rd DAO operator residency. In May, we had DAO Camp, where we hosted about 60 DAO contributors out to a summer camp in Texas. Of course, in May, we also celebrated Cabin's anniversary, where Cabin turned 1. And then in June, we finished up season 1 of Campfire. Shout out to Jackson there for his amazing hosting. And of course, we also hosted more amazing DAO retreats and the first Neighborhood Development Fellowship formed. In July, the State of the Network came out. We completed our 2nd Treasury diversification to set us up for long-term success. And of course, we had our writers residency. Shout out to Roxine and all the writers who were holding it down at Neighborhood 0. Now, August, we had our Summer in the Sierras, which was an amazing co-living, co-working experience. And my friends, we are in the presence of greatness today, as Kayla, our caretaker from Montaya, is here. Kayla, I wanted to give an opportunity for you to say a few words about what's going on in your world and up over at Mantai Base Camp. And I also do have a short video for us to play. So Kayla, do you want us to do the video first, or do you want to share first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and play that video and then we'll drop in and talk a little more.
Okay, cool. Let me just make sure that I'm sharing the appropriate screen. Okay.
Move your cursor, JD.
Hey, Eileen, what's up? Love it. Kayla, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So in August, we had a dozen cabin community members come through the Montaya Base Camp space. And Montaya Base Camp is a regenerative co-living community in the Eastern Sierra Mountains of California. We're about 45 minutes south of Yosemite National Park on the east side. And in the first few days of coming together, people flying in from all across the country, I started to hear sentences like, I've never slept under the stars before. We have a whole stargazing, chill couch setup deck. And I started to hear phrases like, I've never slept under the stars before. Why is it so quiet? Folks coming in and being able to be in a situation, an environment where their nervous systems started to uncurl, and yet the ability to have access to high-speed Wi-Fi, which we need. That is one of the things I've rewritten Maslow's hierarchy of needs triangle for the millennial, for the Web3, the agent of positive change in Web3. And on that baseline, it has high-speed Wi-Fi, food, shelter, warmth, high-speed Wi-Fi. And so this kind of connection of blending these worlds and really thinking about those of us that are creating the new worlds virtually and digitally need to be deeply in relationship with the natural world, so that what we are building and what we are creating and the systems that we're forming in our DAOs and in our NFT movements are informed by the patterns of nature. And so this group came together, and it was phenomenal for me to witness how the minds that are part of the movement that are creating the world that we want to live in, and the changes and decentralization and freedom opportunities that we want to have, what happens when we reconnect, when we root back into the original examples of mycelial network, the original examples of symbiotic relationship. They come from the natural world. So the reason that we shared with you today this video was just to dip everyone back into a space of a moment of what are the teams that we can form? What are the friendships, the collaborations, and the innovations that we can form when we're creating lifestyle that really promotes human thriving? And so here at Basecamp, we focus on connection to self, connection to other, and connection to nature. And as we collaborated with Cabin Coordinate at this last MCon in Denver, bringing the focus back into the interpersonal connection. So I want to ask everyone who's listening right now a question. Can you remember the last time that you had a conversation where you gushed, where you opened up? Usually these conversations happen late in the morning after a night of drinking and dancing and being tired, but we actually see if you can recall what that felt like the last time you just totally opened up and you were held and you were safe. That feeling of total welcomeness. We are playing with social technologies here at Basecamp. How do we induce intimacy instantaneous states of intimacy, so that the closeness and the psychological safety that we need in order to grow and to work at our best level is achieved. We're not maximizing so that you can get the most efficiency out of your 5 hours in your day here. We're maximizing on creating a lifestyle that allows you to be the best version of you. And your efficiency and your innovation and your ability to connect with others and co-create changes on its own, simply when you're in a nest that's safe and that's quiet with people that you love.
Thank you, Kayla. That was beautiful. Awesome. So you can experience that and more at Mantaya. Now, continuing our look back here, September was a very busy month for Cabin. We broke out of the North American continent and made our way over to Greece for our first ever event in Europe, the Web3 camping retreat, which was awesome. We had 2 build weeks in Puerto Rico. And of course, we were one of the lead sponsors of MCon in Denver, which was a lot of fun. Now, before we look forward, I think it's important to actually look back and really consider some of the learnings from the last 6 months. So I want to bring up John Hillis, who's the caretaker of Neighborhood Zero, to share a little bit more about our learnings from the last 6 months.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. I am outside. I'm trying to optimize for my background per the background competition. But if it's a little windy, let me know. I want to talk a little bit about some of our learnings as an organization over the past 6 months. Clearly, we've accomplished a lot in locations around the world. And what we've taken away from those experiences is up here on the screen. The first big takeaway is that we've made the transition from retreats to co-living. So for a lot of the past 6 months, we were focused on retreats and residency programs, which were anywhere from a week to a month. And while those programs allowed us to build these incredibly deep experiences of instant connection in the way that Kayla was describing, what we've realized is that those retreats are not how we're going to be able to build long-term neighborhoods with deep cultures. And what's going to allow us to do that is to take some of the same principles that we've learned from those retreats, but to apply them to co-living. And so Cabin is transitioning into focus on co-living at our neighborhoods in order to make sure that we can bring in people who are going to be able to stay in a location for a long time, or to help cross-pollinate culture across different neighborhoods, but in a way where they're not just coming for a week for a deep, meaningful experience. They're coming usually for a month or maybe many months, possibly even years, in order to help be a part of the long-term culture that we're developing at these neighborhoods. So that's been our first big learning and transition over the past 6 months. The second one is a reframing of what we mean when we're talking about the DAO. And I think particularly in season 2, we spent a lot of time thinking about what it meant to be a contributor at Cabin. And we thought a lot about how to create easy ways for people to earn bounties and to get involved in the community in that way. And I think what we've realized over the past 6 months is that we got a little too hung up on our own internal operations, and we weren't really focused enough on what is actually at the core of Cabin, which is our neighborhoods. And so the transition that we've made when we talk about the DAO and when we talk about our primary focus areas is thinking less about ourselves as contributors to Cabin, service providers to the network, and thinking much more about the neighborhoods that make up the network. And I think this is very true to what DAOs are really all about, which is building constellations of small autonomous organizations that push the value to the edges of the network. And in our case, those neighborhoods are the autonomous units that are really where we are creating value and having amazing experiences as a community. And then the final big learning and takeaway from this past 6 months is that what we're developing at Cabin is what Balaji Srinivasan in his recent book, The Network State, called A Moral Innovation. And we experimented with a lot of different types of innovation over the past 6 months. We developed software products. We built out our DAO contributor guilds. But what we've really realized is that at the core of Cabin is a moral innovation and a set of Balaji refers to this as the one commandment that a network state has. Well, at Cabin, we don't believe in one commandments. We're really more like 3 suggestions. But those 3 suggestions form the core of who we are and what we stand for. And for us, that's conserve, co-live, and create. And we're going to be talking a lot more about those 3 words today, what those mean to us as a community, and some of the opportunities that we have as a community to engage across these 3 areas: conserve, co-live, and create, as we move forward as an organization.
Great. Thanks for sharing some of those learnings, John. We're going to continue on here, but before we do, we actually have a community member that I want to introduce to y'all named Rena, and Rena is here to share about a new Cabin offering. So welcome, Rena.
Thanks, Jonathan. Hi, everyone. My name is Rena. I'm really excited to announce the start of Women at Cabin. So we're going to be beginning circles where women within the Cabin community can gather, can talk about their needs and their wants, their desires, the projects that they're working on. Really, it's an open space for us to discuss all of the topics that are talked about within the Cabin community on Discord, but really bring them in an online / perhaps even in-person format for folks that are in the same city. I'm going to be dropping a link that will take you to a type form where if you are female identifying, non-binary, and would like to join these circles, please feel free to drop your information and also share any information about yourself towards the end. I think that'll really help us in co-creating an awesome space for everyone. And also this is, like I said, this is a co-created space. So, we would love for everyone who's joining to also be, although I will be kind of spearheading it and facilitating the first few sessions, really want everyone to bring their own insights and experiences to the group. So I'll follow up with anyone who signs up on there. We'll also follow up on Discord afterwards with anyone that's interested, so that you have a better idea of when the next meeting is.
Very cool. Thanks, Rena. I appreciate you stopping in. I know you only had a few minutes today, so appreciate your time and looking forward to Women at Cabin. Awesome. So we're going to jump back into it here, and we are going to talk about the season MVP. So we give an award out at the end of each season, and the season MVP is given to a community member who really embodies the true Cabin spirit. A builder at heart, a giver, an explorer, someone who deeply cares for the planet. And unfortunately, the season MVP is not on this call today, but I'm super excited to announce that the MVP of Summer 22 goes to Dave Speaky's the Builder. So let's give some snaps to Dave. There will be a gift of 25 Cabin delivered by a Cabin carry ferry to your wallet. So keep an eye out for some of those treats, Dave, and we will see you soon. Now, in the spirit of gifting, we did have some competitions that were leading up to this call. So the first competition was Office for the Day. So the question is, who here came with the most creative and awesome background to the Zoom call? So it looks like I'm going through it here. Lauren, I'm sorry, not today. Reese, loving those plants. Roxine, is that a drop ceiling? I think no. No, that looks like concrete. Travis, we don't like the concrete, so that's good. Tippy, you're out of your normal background. I don't think that's going to go. Chalice, I do really like those plants. We'll give you some bonus there. Phil, you're doing all right today, not bad. Yeah, Kayla, I see you. I see you. Are those real? Are those real? That's going to be important.
Real as in what? I mean, real as in atoms and molecules vibrating in space, regardless of the polymer they're probably
I've
made
heard
out of?
enough. I've heard enough. Now, Build Week Squad. This is interesting here. I like that energy coming from y'all. Do we have any choreographed dances or anything of that nature here? Okay, let's see. Looks like they're putting something together here real quick. Right, that's just how you guys practiced. I don't know. I'm gonna say, oh, I see Charlie peeking in there. Maybe we have a maybe on there. John, loving the beautiful sky, praying for some rain out there in Texas. Zach, solid, but not getting me too fired up. Matthew has some wine glasses, looking pretty classy over there. Okay, I think what we're gonna say here is that the winner of the office of the day background is gonna have to go to the Build Week Squad because they're just bringing the energy there. So we'll have to figure out how we get a gift to all of you. Maybe we can get some pizza or something delivered to the cabin for your guys' hard work. Okay, great. Snaps to y'all. Now, I'm not sure if we had any submissions for the second competition, which was the new emoji design. We were seeking contributions for a all-inclusive emoji that wasn't shaded in the different colors, something that was a little bit more neutral. Did anyone here create an emoji? Reese? Oh, let's go. Okay. I'm going to assume that you're the only person on the call here today submitting it, but Reese, can you share this emoji in some way with us?
Yeah, if you're in the Discord, you can go to the custom emojis. It's like when you go to put an emoji, and then you go and you click add, then you should be able to see the custom emojis. I don't know if JD, you can help me out and share
Oh,
for everyone.
is it this conserve, co-live, create, thumbs up?
You better believe it is.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. Cabin.city, even thrown in the website. Okay, wow. Reese, this is awesome. Now, you didn't beat anyone out on the win, but you still got.
JD, there was one other submission.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
she was on the call, but Kat submitted the new Ryobi emoji in honor of our power tools, which are all Ryobi themed power tools.
Okay.
I've just
Pretty
added
good.
that in general chat as well.
Pretty good. Okay. It's good to see that in there. We're gonna do a group vote on here. Wait, something's happening from Build Week Squad. What's going on over there? We're not sure. Just a lot of energy. Okay, great. Okay, so we have the Ryobi and we have the thumbs up. So we're going to vote by thumbs up, okay? So everyone gets one vote. Now, give me a thumbs up if you would like to vote for the Ryobi. We still love you, Kat. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you would like to cast your vote for the green, conserve, co-live, create, cap. Oh my goodness. All right, it's done. It's over. Huge props to Reese. The cabin Carry Ferry will be delivering you a nice cabin gift of 10 cabin. We love to see it. Now let's get back to the regular scheduled programming here. Snaps to Reese, loving it. Excited to see that emoji being used. Now, we're going to jump into some fall 22 and some plans as we look forward. So the fellowship got together, the Neighborhood Development Fellowship got together in Denver to discuss the upcoming objectives for fall 22. And we really landed on three main objectives: grow co-living, build our audience to fill our IRL programs, and really invest a lot of time and energy into community engagement. So just wanted to share with those with y'all today. This is all up on the snapshot, so you can go and check that out if you want some more details there. But really, as we look ahead, we're really going to focus on these big things. So of course, you can see some details below on some more specifics. And if you want to check out the objectives in greater detail with some more key results, you can do so on the snapshot. John, do you have anything, or maybe Phil, anything you want to add here to the fall 22 objectives?
No, I think you nailed it. I think the only other big call out here is that these objectives are going to be spearheaded by our first fellowship as part of our intentional effort to help put the focus on our network of neighborhoods as the center of the DAO, and to help create clear lines of separation between the community and people that are doing service provider work on behalf of the DAO. We've structured that service provider work into the first fellowship. These objectives and the first fellowship and the budget for it were all approved by a recent snapshot vote of the DAO. And so this will be the fellowship's focus for the next season.
Great, thanks for that context, John. Okay, we're gonna keep it rolling here. We have a few more things to cover, so just want to make sure we get you out of here on the hour and hopefully have some time for some questions, thoughts, or reflections at the end. So a quick overview of Cabin's 3 neighborhoods. Of course, we have neighborhood 0, the 28-acre retreat center in the Texas Hill Country, about 45 minutes outside Austin. We have Radish, the 20+ person co-living compound in Oakland. And of course, Mantaya Base Camp, which we heard a little bit about from Kayla today. So the Cabin is growing. And the question is, how do we grow from here? And I want to just reiterate, this is not growth just for the sake of growth. This is growth because life is more fun and interesting when you're surrounded by amazing people in beautiful places. So how do we get from here to here? Now, I'm going to posit today that it all starts with people. I don't care how beautiful the place is in nature or how amazing the food is at the dinner party. If we don't get the people piece right, nothing else matters. And to take that one step further, I would argue that at the center of people are our neighborhood caretakers. So what makes a superb caretaker? Well, caretakers need to have a deep sense of place, a passion for stewarding the natural land, an ability to maintain the structures, the systems, the infrastructure that actually need to exist to have the property run smoothly, and of course, experience facilitating connections. Now, the caretaker plus the property really makes up a special Cabin neighborhood. So what is the neighborhood criteria that really makes for great spaces? So right now, as Cabin grows, we are looking to onboard new neighborhoods that have at least the ability to sleep 8 people, that have nature out the door, and of course, some regional natural amenities as well. Ideally 60 to 90 minutes from an airport and city. And of course, we're going to need that strong internet. Now, to help us get there, we, as you might have seen just last week, rolled out our brand new community referral program. And the community referral program is a new way for folks to earn the Cabin token to help us build this member-owned co-living network. So there are 3 ways to participate. You'll see here you can refer a neighborhood, refer a co-living resident, and refer a podcast guest. And this is a great way for y'all to participate if maybe you personally aren't ready to co-live with us or add a property into the network. So if you have more questions about the community referral program, you can reach out to me or Jackson, and we'll help you get set up there to help us continue growing this network. So we're moving on with the presentation here, and now we're going to start looking forward a little bit, and really we're going to anchor this discussion in our 3 guiding principles, as John mentioned: conserve, co-live, and create. So conserve, let's jump into it here, and we're going to pass the mic over to John Hillis, who's really ramping up some conservation work at Neighborhood 0.
Awesome. Thanks for handing the mic back. So quick thing I'll say here about Cabin and Cabin's origin story is that we've, we call ourselves Cabin now. For a while, we were also known as Creator Cabins. But what many people don't know is that before that, we also called ourselves Conservation Cabins. And I think all three of these versions of Cabin are still with us and still exist, which is why conserve, co-live, create, is our core motto. But I think it's important for people to understand that history. And I think it's an important part of why we believe that building these spaces out in remote locations is important. As Kayla shared earlier, being out in nature is just a really important part of has been for my life, I know has been for Kayla's life, and I know for many of the rest of us on this call, has been an important part of who we are and how we connect with each other. But it's not just about us and connecting with each other. The other reason why we do what we do is because it's a really important part of trying to help get the planet back on the right track in the coming decades. And a core part of our moral innovation here at Cabin is conservation and is regeneration. And the reason for that is because if we don't do that, then we won't be able to do all of the other stuff because we won't have a planet to do it on and in and with. And so just to help share a very tangible example of this, there's a fantastic book called Project Drawdown, which is essentially a giant roadmap for how we solve climate change. And if you look at Project Drawdown's list, they have basically created models and measured and stack ranked hundreds of ways that we might try to combat climate change in the coming decades, and created a stacked rank list of which of those ways are most impactful. And the big eye-opening thing for me reading this list from Project Drawdown and reading their book, which is fantastic, was realizing how much of this has to do with food, agriculture, and land use. And when people think about, solving climate change, I think they tend to think about, solar photovoltaics or wind turbines. You can see those are also on the list. They're very important. But what people often aren't thinking about is the importance of food, agriculture, and land use. And that's something that we can really create a strong lever for as we grow the Cabin ecosystem. And a very specific example of that, if you look at this list, one of the top solutions here, this is the stack rank list of hundreds of items, and I'm just showing you the top, 10 or so here. One of those is silvopasture, which I had never heard of before reading Project Drawdown. It's basically the idea of creating situations where you have cows or other livestock that are intermixed with forested areas and agricultural areas. You intermix all three of those, and it actually can become a really strong carbon sink. And this is what we're starting to do out here at Neighborhood Zero. So not only do we have these wonderful, essentially pet longhorns, Vitalik and cow, those longhorns are also the beginning of a silvopasture project. And over the course of this fall, we're going to have our first permaculturist in residence out at Zero, who's going to be clearing down some of the invasive species, opening up land for silvopasture, and helping take one small step towards creating a more regenerative environment here at Neighborhood Zero. And I think the hope is that this can be just the first of many examples of the ways in which Cabin neighborhoods can begin to live up to our ideals of conservation, and possibly even start to implement things like conservation easements in the future. And so if you'll go to the next slide, I have an exciting announcement to share, which is that we're going to be having a community ideation session next week to start having a conversation about what it might look like to develop a grant program for neighborhood development and land conservation. And so, we want this to be a really bottom-up community project. And so we, want to bring everyone in at the beginning and talk about what this could look like. But we really want to lean into this idea of how can we help support building new neighborhoods and building them in sustainable ways that can help with land conservation. seems like there's a lot of excitement about that in the chat, which is awesome to see. Excited to chat with you all on Monday more about it.
Yes. Thank you, John. By restoring the land, I restore myself. So come join us on Monday, and we'll keep the conversation going there. Now we're moving on to our next guiding principle, co-live. And each of these are going to be sprinkled a little bit more about what the guiding principle means, and then we'll share a little bit of alpha, a little tease along the way too. So to talk about co-living, we're going to bring up Cabin's chaplain. You might show up at these IRL programs, but Chalice here is doing a lot of the thought leadership behind the scenes. So Chalice, how you doing today?
Hey, hi everyone. Chaplain is a little bit preemptive. I will say that I am on my way there, but currently a retired doula. This time I'm introing myself. A retired doula, part-time grad student studying divinity, and then full-time people person. And so here at Cabin, my focus is bringing people together. And through that, I've helped host and facilitate a variety of Cabin events throughout the last year and explore this burgeoning field of community. A few of the things that I want to talk about is why we gather and how we gather and who we are gathering. Web3 kind of is expanding the way that we've thought about a lot of things, and community being one of them. Cabin and its existence in Web3 bridges the gap between our online presence and the physical realities we as humans can't escape. But before I begin belaboring what I think gathering is all about, I'm going to ask all of you guys to pop into the chat and write the city you are currently located in and the age you were at your favorite birthday party. So your favorite birthday party and how old you were turning. While you do that, I'm going to go on and talk about gathering and the things that I've learned in the past 10 months from asking humans on the internet to join Cabin in person. A few of the key features are, oh wait, I'll stop and pause. Okay, 16, Reese. Okay, 6-year-old pirate. Okay, we're going to come back to those things, but just keep going in that. I'm going to keep going. A few of the key features of gathering, as I see it, is gathering exists as an opportunity to facilitate transformative experiences. It takes a plan without attachment to that plan or a specific outcome. Something I learned as a doula is to make a plan, but would be willing to deviate from the plan at any cost, recognizing the need to improvise as you go. Then, JD, you want to hit next slide? This is, oh, wait, JD, where is it? It's the picture.
Oh, the two pictures. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. You cut it. You cut it. He cut
not,
my slide.
Not
it's fine, guys.
Not intentional.
He cut my slide. So I'll just tell you guys about it. There was a picture of people blazing trails. That is us deviating from the path that currently exists. It also allows, or a good gathering introduces just the right amount of risk, playfulness, and choice for each person without overwhelming them. When we gather, we're closing the gap between what is, what will be, and existing in the present moment. And so as a community, we have the opportunity at each gathering to build a community or break down a community. And I like to think of gathering as a mechanism or as a tool, as we say in Web3, everything's a tool that shapes beliefs and adds value. Before the gatherings that I've created within the context or parameters of Cabin, a few questions I've asked are, what is the purpose of our shared time and space? What is the need and why are we bringing these people together? A few questions I want to reflect or share with you guys or ask of this group is, with each Cabin gathering, what and how do we bring attention to the space we share and engage, and what matters and what, engage with and what matters in a meaningful way as we grow and expand these spaces. So I imagine that at your birthday party, whichever age you were, you probably felt seen and felt known. And that's something that I aim to provide and we aim to provide at these co-living experiences. And my alpha leak or do you, thanks JD, is we are going to circle back to a bit of the OG creator cabin residency program, and we are going to offer one room at Neighborhood Zero to a creator in the space. And so if that's you, reach out to me and or anyone on the team, and we will explore what that looks like for you to become a Neighborhood Zero resident.
Thank you, Chalice. Appreciate you. Sorry about the slide.
It's fine. You do.
Awesome. So that's a little bit more about co-living. So let's get to some of the creator stuff. And I think create can mean a lot of different things, but today we want to talk about it a little bit more in the sense of building, as Cabin builds this community of URL and IRL solar punk builders. So want to bring up Charlie. I don't know if you have audio capabilities there with the Build Week team, just to share some updates from the squad out there on what's going on at Neighborhood Zero.
Would it be possible to? Oh, yeah. Let's not do double mic. Just use my mic. Okay. We're good. Okay. Oh, unless you want to share it. So I had some pictures to share, but I'll just drop them in the chat. Build Week. No, sharing's not available. But Build Week 1 is not. This is actually Build Week 3, I think, or at least on this property. And it's well underway. We're building a bathhouse. We casted the concrete piers. We're well underway. It's going great. We have an all-star team. Like, I'm telling you, we killed it yesterday. It was really impressive. And then we're also developing shed rooms. So we're exploring some affordable solutions to basically provide housing for right now for Neighborhood Zero, but it'd be really cool if we can nail this and bring this to more neighborhoods. So for the shed room that we're currently building, it's looking like it'll end up costing around 25 grand, which is a lot less than many alternatives. So that's really exciting that for me personally, that we're exploring with that kind of stuff within Cabin. I think that's a real innovation. And yeah, I'll definitely share some of the pictures from this week in the chat. I'll put it in the general chat. It's really fun, and like this bathhouse is gonna be really cool. So I'll share that all.
Very exciting. Well, we appreciate all of y'all out at Neighborhood Zero helping out and getting your hands dirty out there. Good stuff. Definitely share some more pictures and some design updates for the squad here, Charlie. And yeah, we'll check back in with y'all on Monday to get the latest updates. Now, bit of an alpha leak here for the creation piece is that we want to keep doing stuff like this, where we can see how affordably we can bring a unit of housing onto the market. As y'all see here by this super fun graph, you'll see that the average sale price of homes in the United States has absolutely skyrocketed. Just after the pandemic started, it crossed the $500,000 mark. So as we lean into our guiding principle of create, we're really leaning into creating 10 times cheaper and better housing. And I think we'll continue to iterate on this, but super exciting. If the build costs for the shed room comes out to be about $25K, I'm not a mathematician, but I think that's more than 10 times, which is pretty exciting. I think we'll continue to iterate on the designs and see how we can continue to use more sustainable materials and focus on the embodied carbon of them and the toxicity of those materials to keep building great spaces for people to gather. So we're going to be building 2 of these shed rooms at Neighborhood Zero. And of course, the team there is working on a communal bathhouse that will be available for the Neighborhood Zero shed room residents and visitors to use. So that's a little bit of alpha and how we're thinking about things on the housing and development front. Now, looking forward, let's talk about ways that you can get involved. So really, it comes down to a few things right now. First being, join us for an upcoming IRL event. We have building and co-living happening at Neighborhood Zero. And of course, we have some upcoming Mantaya programs and co-living opportunities that maybe we tease a little bit right now, maybe not. Chalice, Kayla, I'm looking at you. Maybe. Chalice says no. Kayla says, why not? I'm going to
Already dropped it in the chat earlier. Go for it.
go for it. Okay. Kayla.
I could do 30 seconds.
Okay.
I will time myself. So we just want to invite cabin folks to join us to apply for pods. We have a pod in November, Home to the Hearth. I dropped the link in the chat and I'll drop it again, really focusing on leaning in, coming the environment around, being around a cozy fire in a really focused and close environment. Then we have December, January, and February, our winter habitat pod. This is for folks who want to be right next to a ski resort and still have high-speed Wi-Fi, backcountry skiers, cross-country skiers, snowboarders, and climbers. This is kind of like our outdoor adventure pod group.
Sweet.
That's it.
Very exciting. So if you have interest in joining some of these pods, reach out to Kayla. And then we also have some fun stuff for some co-living in 2023, but I will just stop talking about that because we're going to be teasing that a little bit more in the future. So if you're not ready to co-live with us, another opportunity is to add a neighborhood to the network. So the first step in doing that is completing the prospective new neighborhood intake form. And then someone from our team will get connected with the property owner or operator or manager about that. Now, if the IRL stuff is not your cup of tea right now or just yet, you can also hang with us URL. We have the new Touch Grass channel that just went live this morning. So this is under the community section of our Discord. And it's a channel for you to show you and the homies just getting outside and touching some grass. Shout out to Web4 Culture. So hop in there, share some photos of you touching grass, extra bonus points if you're with other cabin friends. And of course, we have the Women in Cabin that Rena shared about. So more info coming soon, and be sure to complete that type form. Now, we're coming to the end of the presentation here. So I just wanted to share one other thing coming up that you should keep on your radar is the URL IRL holiday party happening in early December. We're going to be sending out all the details, the dates, what cities it's going down in, and how you can tap in both online and in real life. So keep an eye out for some info on that. Now, to wrap up the call here, we are going to do a group hang loose. So if people feel comfortable, flip those cameras on for me, and we're going to throw up the hang loose. For some reason, I can't view. It might be because I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. So we're all going to throw it up. Jackson, you know what I'm talking about. We're all going to throw it up and get a little screenshot here that we'll be sharing online. So ready? I'm going to take a screenshot in 3, 2, 1. I don't know if I got it because I was also screenshotting. We're going to do one more for fun. 3, 2, 1. Definitely missed that one, but you guys all look beautiful out there. And we have just about 5 minutes left. So just wanted to hold some time for some questions, thoughts, reflections. Of course, we had a lot of info shared today. So if you think of things later, you can always reach out to me in Discord or on Twitter. And I just want to say thanks everyone for coming to the State of the Network call and ushering in fall 22. And while we'll be sticking around for some questions, and we will see you on the trail. Thanks, y'all.
Woo! Thanks, JD.
So nice.
I have one small reflection, which is that something that we talk about more often in the written context and less so on these calls. But like the long range of what Cabin is building is a new city, right? Which is very ambitious. And we sit at this intersection of tech and city building. And something that I think we borrow from tech is this idea of a minimally viable product. For us, the minimally viable product version for a city is a co-living network. And Rome wasn't built in a day, neither will anything like what Cabin is doing. And that's why I think just highlighting that community referral program again is so important, because in order for us to grow both sides of what is a two-sided marketplace with residents on one side and neighborhoods on the other, we need to incentivize behavior that drives adoption of both of those sides. So if residents want to see a range of beautiful neighborhoods, if neighborhoods want to see strong demand from residents, it is in the interest of the DAO and in the community for us to drive both of those numbers up as much as possible. So thanks, JD, for putting this on. And yeah, if anyone has questions on how to earn cabin through referring neighborhoods or residents, let me know.
Sweet. Thanks, Jackson. Appreciate you sharing more about the community referral program. Any other thoughts, questions, reflections from folks here? Okay. Well, I recognize that it may be difficult to ask a question in front of other folks as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out on Discord. You can always DM me, and I'm here to answer any questions or get y'all pointed in the right direction. So we have about 4 minutes left. So I was thinking that I would just ramble for a bit. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to get you out of here on time. So just want to say thanks everyone for coming out to the State of the Network. We will see you on Monday for the community ideation session, as well on Friday. We have our Shill Anything. And then on Thursday, we are going to be talking a little bit about Discord norms. Chalice has been putting some work together on just some norms for our URL and our IRL community. So we really want to bring some more folks into the conversation. So if you're available and around on Thursday, that's going to be going down. It's at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. So we hope to see you there. And I just hope everyone's doing well out there. This is going to be my new background. This is what we're doing here these days. Jackson has built this studio in our house because he's going to be cranking out some amazing cabin content. So keep an eye out, more stuff to come. Excited to be building with y'all. And if you need anything, give me a shout. Until then, I will see y'all on the trail.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. So great.